But so here we are, we're stuck with this right now. On one hand, we have, companies, telecoms are not coming forward and saying, Lucas, we're here to help you. Let us publicly tell you what's going on. So the one choice is wait, do nothing and wait. And on the other hand, we have the start a city fiber business, right?
Sure.
It's pretty extremes. There's got to be something in the middle, right? What do you think?
Well, I think first of all, you need to figure out what kind of problems you really have there, if any.
Okay.
All right. One of the more revealing things that we found, that we came across, and we had to do a Freedom of Information Act request to get some of this information, but we came across a consultant's analysis that was one of the better ones I've seen in terms of being brutally honest. And what this consultant said was that the majority of internet problems in smaller communities where you have incumbent providers already are not with the incumbent providers themselves. It's with the problems inside the home. Right. So once they bring the fiber or the cable, whatever it happens to be, the connection to your home, it's what's inside your home that causes a lot of the connectivity problems, slow speeds, that sort of thing. So you may even have gigabit fiber straight to your house, but if you have a crappy router that you bought at some big box discount store and you only spent $20 on it because you didn't want to invest in the $150 router, it's going to be able to do Wi-Fi and gigabit speeds throughout your home, be able to handle the technology coming in. But you buy the $20 one, you're going to have a crappy experience.
Right. Or if you try to use it, break the two wall rule. You have your router in one room and you're two rooms away, and your signal's not going to be strong enough to give you good service. Right.
And some people have it wired throughout their home, so they have wired connections. Well, sometimes the wiring is not that great in the first place, or they've tried to retrofit an older home with newer wiring and it doesn't work. So a lot of it is inside the home. So I think if you've got big parts of your community that simply don't have any provider that can provide what's considered high-speed internet, 25 megabits download, 3 megabits upload, according to the FCC definition. If you don't have any providers in those areas, or it's super spotty, then you need to look for a broader solution, I think. And sometimes, if you can actually engage in the communications with your incumbent providers, whether it's AT&T or Comcast or Mediacom or whatever it happens to be, whoever your providers are, engage in conversations with them to see if there are spots that need to be filled in and if they have plans to do that. But if they've got generally, and what we see a lot of times, it's less than 10% of any community that's not covered. Usually it's 3 or 4% of the community that's not covered by somebody already. But we see cities that do things that are more proactive. So they might adopt an ordinance that says for any new subdivision or housing development, you have to have conduit. You have to install conduit as part of your infrastructure so that it makes it easier and cheaper and faster for an internet provider to come in and run new lines through that conduit.
Right. Okay.
So that's one of the things that we've seen proactively. And if you've got a city that wants to help incentivize this, instead of spending $19 million to build your own, maybe you offer, offer some financial incentives of a much lower dollar amount to an incumbent to come in and expand into some of those areas where there's no service. You don't have to build one for the entire city when you're only trying to provide coverage for a few spots that don't have it. That's just redundancy, and it doesn't work very well. One of the things that we've seen, the arguments we've seen is this is, by building our own, it's going to be competition. We want competition, and competition is going to drive the prices down.
Yeah, does that work?
That's crap. It's absolute crap because and here's why it's not usually true.
Okay.
For a city-owned internet service
Right.
to actually be sustainable financially over the long term, they have to get to near monopoly levels. They can't have competition. If you've got
Okay.
if you've got two incumbent providers and the city comes in, now you got three providers. Odds are, that the marketplace is going to divide that up.
Yeah.
Maybe the city can get 40% and the other two split the other 60%, 30, something like that. That's competition, right?
Yeah.
That's when you
Yeah.
have competition, when you've got three providers and they're all somewhat the same, but maybe a little bit different.
Right.
What you see certainly in Lucas's case is that the city-owned internet system isn't going to be able to survive financially on 40% of the market. They need
Right.
50. They need 55% or
Yeah.
more, and I would
Right.
say you need more because as I think as I pointed out when I looked earlier at this, you've got roughly 10% of your citizens that are low income that are not going to be able to afford to pay $115 a month.
Right.
They can't do it. They just don't have that in their budget. So that takes you down to 90% of your households roughly are available for participating in this.
And some of those already have fiber.
Some of them already have fiber.
Some of them are happy. Yeah.
Some of them are happy. Some of them are not going to want to pay $115 a month.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Regardless, some of them may not feel like they need gigabit speeds.
Right.
One of the things that's really interesting to run a Netflix movie takes 1/2 of a megabit per second.
Right. They've optimized the heck out of that, right?
1/2 of a megabit. So if you have gigabit service, right? If you have a full gigabit, and assuming you've got all the mechanics inside your house that would make it work, you could run 2,000 Netflix movies at the same time.
Right. Not many people are doing that, I don't think.
Not many people are doing that. So when the Netflix service only requires 1/2 of a megabit to run a movie, and you see communities saying, well, we need to have gigabit service. Well, you're really overdoing it for the vast majority of people. It's helpful, it's nice to have, but you pay for it, number one, and number two, most people come nowhere near needing it in terms of what they're actually doing. And you in your back end, you could probably talk more about that than I could about what kind of speeds you need to run the higher level gaming type stuff.
I think your point is very well made. A lot of people don't realize it's not the connection to their house, it's what's happening inside their house that really influences their experience. And I think addressing that's pretty key.
And that's such a it's human nature, and I understand that. Everybody wants to just plug something into the wall, turn it on, and all of a sudden everything works seamlessly. And it works as fast as you want it, and it never goes down, and there's never any pausing or wait time while something downloads, all that. That's great. If you think that that's what you're going to get with a municipally owned fiber utility, you're wrong. Because another part that we see oftentimes is these entities come in, the consultants come in, and they claim that we can do this cheaper for you.